Greetings, friends and fellow cigar bonus guitar enthusiasts. Welcome to Cannibalism Part 2. Now, I took up all of these edges on this little top here, and I started to try to lift it to get it to come apart, but I could tell it's stuck here, so it must be these screws here that are holding the pickups in. Okay, that should be it. I got everything loose now, right? There's something else holding it, dang it. Huh? Let's see here. Gotta be more screws. Oh. Maybe it's just not loose. There you go, guys. Finally. Took some finagling, but ta-da! Man, that is an awesome routing job. Dude, this is an awesome job. My gosh. Looks like this comes apart too. It's got to be screwed on there somewhere. Unless there's a screw underneath here, maybe. Oh, there is. Guys, you hit a screw underneath here. Love it. All right, let's see here. I knew it. There's just one or two? Oh, two. Okay, there's two screw holes. 3 screw holes. 4 screw holes. Okay, guys, we got 4 screw holes right here. And let's see here. I'm just going to go ahead and cut this wire. That's the input. So I'm going to cut it off on this side here. That way I have a soldered jack with a wire. Might want to save those. Especially that pickup. I bet you that's a rock and rolling pickup right there. Sheesh. Humbucker. Okay. Where's my reading glasses? Did you guys see what I did with them? Oh, here they are. I hid them from myself. Okay, so we are going, yep, these are Phillips. Uh-oh. It's always the last one that strips out, right? We got it, though. We got it. I'm going to keep these long screws because they're like the right depth. All right, so look at this neck. This neck we are going to pair with this box. Ta-da! All right, so we are continuing to take this guy apart, and next is the pickup here. So we'll take the pickup out. Now I noticed that it was a real clean solder job here on the back here, and real short leads. So anytime there's like clean solder joints with short leads, like this one here on the jack, I'm always suspicious of made in China. But either way, I think I'll just leave them connected together as a unit, since it's already like together. Oh yeah, this is cool. It's got two of these nuts, one on either side, so you can tighten this thing down really good. Yeah, so I'll keep these guys intact here. Yay! Nothing goes to waste. Even these pop rivets. Just pried them out. So I'll have 12 experienced pop rivets. Yay! So now I'm left with the blank. This could go down in the Hall of Fame. Seriously, this is a collector's item, collector's art right here. But what I was thinking about doing was one of two things: either cutting this out and putting it into a box and then pairing it with a neck, or creating some sort of a solid body using this tele neck. This is a real Fender Telecaster neck. And actually I have two of them. No, I don't. Yeah, I do. The other one's not a Telecaster, it's a Stratocaster. So I got this guy here, and now this guy here. So anyhow, guys, you remember this little dude here? Little bobblehead. Well, he's rocking the wooden CB Giddy cigar box guitar. Guys, I was thinking we need to do a prank on CB Giddy. We need to go to their website and demand, guys, we demand the return of the wooden cigar box. I mean, these things are just cool. I mean, you could put keychains on it. You could tie them to your box. I mean, there's so many cool things that you could do with these things. These things are awesome. So go to CB Giddy and say, Del Puckett said to return, what do you call it? Bring back the wooden CB Giddy thingy. So moving right along onto the Arturo Fuente. Next, I'm going to do sound holes. 2 sound holes here. Now for sound holes, I like to use my my notch template here. I get this at cbgiddy.com. The markings on either side of center here are perfect for perfectly aligning up your sound holes here, right? So that this really helps. So yeah, these things here, these templates here, I use them all the time. They're valuable. But moving on to the neck, the great neck. So this particular piece of wood here, for a 25-inch scale, I want it to come out the back, measured it to be exactly almost 32, like 31 and a half. 31 and almost 3/4. Doesn't have to be exact, because you'll be cutting some off or whatever. But this is going to be a 25-inch scale fret spacing. So we're measuring 25 inches from what's going to be the nut or the 0 fret, the nut, to the saddle. Now this is 25 inches, and you can see there I did a mark there at 25 inches. This little mark here. Now, so that tells me where the saddle is going to be on the instrument. I'm looking straight down here. Now I wanted it to be a little bit toward the bottom, because I'm going to use one of these shutter hinges like that. So I have about maybe 1.5 inches between where the strings come out of the shutter to where the, again, that's just rule of thumb. Rule of thumb, yeah, like two and a half thumbs ish. And that also tells me where the fretboard is going to cover up here. So again, I get my templates from CB Giddy, and I just double sticky them to what's going to be the fretboard. And I already measured it out to be the exact length I need from nut to the edge of the board in order for my saddle to be right there. So I know might sound a little bit complicated, but I have videos explaining the setup of this here. It's not rocket scientist, but there is some things that you got to get exactly right. So yeah, so take the time right here to learn how to do the dry fit setup. And again, this is really just measuring and double checking and aligning, and the same thing I did the same thing with the heel, right? I measured how much do I want the heel to come out, and so you know the rule. The rule is measure twice, cuss once. All right, we're going to cut the fret slots. So here we are at the fretting station. Now I've done lots of videos on the jig where you get the Mighty Mite little table saw. So we got this little sled. I've used this for, gosh, almost 500 builds, man. This thing is, I've been through 3 blades. Now I always get questions, where do you get your blades? Over the years, the companies have changed, and I got, I do have a couple of spare blades there, but I don't know how to get them. So if there's somebody who knows where to get these blades here for these guys here, maybe you could put a link for everybody in the video description below. I do not have, like I said, I got blades, so I kind of lost track of the company. I think there was one called Pen Tools, and I think this was might have been either Malco or Thompson. But what you're looking for is, for these things here, these little 4-inch Mighty Mites, I got this at Harbor Freight, and I don't even know if they make this anymore. It's this little tiny little Chicago electric power tool. But the blade is a 4-inch blade, and it's got to have a .023 kerf. That's the thickness of the blade, and then with a 1/2-inch arbor. So those are the specs for the blade there. But I do have this little fence rail here, and I just line up a little target line there with this thing here and just zing. And I just follow the template here, and then these fret slots here transfer to slots on the back side here. So the trick with these little Mighty Mite saws here is when you're cutting your fret slots, especially on hardwood. If you got hardwood, like in this case here, red oak, but any hardwood, maple, rosewood, ebony, walnut, whatever your hardwood is, if it's hardwood, this little saw is going to have a hard time, especially if you go slow. It just bogs down. And if it does that, you get a burned slot or an incomplete slot, then you got to go back and realign it or do it hand by hand. It's just a mess. So you want to keep the rev as high as possible all the time, which means you got to cut as fast as you can. So I'm going to demonstrate here. So we are here on we're on the 6th fret here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So I'm going to cut the 6th fret here, and I'll demonstrate what I mean by keeping the revs high and going as fast as I can. I'll cut 2 slots. Okay, so that was the 6th and 7th frets, and you can see how clean those fret slots are. So that's the trick, man. Go as fast as you can. All right, what's this sound right here? Oh, all right, you already saw it, huh? Oh, I like doing this. And just like that, your fretboard is born. So this will be the 0 fret. Then you just take your fretboard off of your template. Now with the sticky tape, I have yet to figure out a way to recycle this stuff here. One of the things I like to do is like wad it up and make it look like it's a booger, and just like, oh dude. It works with kids. So we measured for 19 frets. That's a 1/5 above the octave. And in this case here, it's a 25-inch scale neck. So we're going to measure this guy here. And this is going to measure at 17 1/4. Now, does that matter? Well, for this guy here, for a 25-inch scale neck with 19 frets, it's going to come in at a little over 17 inches, like 17 1/4. And that's just so you have extra meat here. You don't want to cut this too close to the fret, or else that wood will give away. So I like to give myself at least a 1/4 inch, maybe more on this side of the highest fret. Now, why is that important? Well, because this right here is one of, in my opinion, an important passageway here. So remember, we measured for the saddle to be right here. It's marked right here. So that's how I determined where this fretboard was going to sit. And then I put little tick marks here, so I know that everything's lined up. Again, we're measuring twice. And so now I know where to cut right here. And I put that little tick mark right there. All right, so when it's lined up right on that little tick mark, that's where we're going to cut down. And we're going to cut down the exact thickness of the top of the box. And the reason being is because we want this fretboard to be over the top of the box by the exact thickness of the fretboard. So that's why we're going to cut down here at the exact thickness of the fretboard. Now, here's where it gets dicey. The thickness here is the same thickness as the top of the box here, but it's going to increase and get steeper and steeper, and I'm exaggerating, as we come down here. So over here it might be whatever thickness this is, which is a little over an eighth, a little under a quarter. So over here it might be, I'm just guessing, maybe a little bit over a quarter, maybe. I'll draw it out and I'll show you exactly. So I'm looking straight down from the top. On this side here, it's the exact thickness of the top of the box. And then I'm just going back at an angle here, and I'm not really measuring it, I'm just looking here, but I want to make sure that I get a Sharpie, a nice dark Sharpie. And that's exactly where I'm going to cut here. So the thickness of the top, and then maybe the thickness of the top doubled or maybe even tripled back here. That'll give you a nice back angle. I'm gonna do the same thing for the headstock here. The headstock is just about the thickness of a blade. Thickness of a saw blade on this side here. And that is to accommodate the thickness of the tuner. You want that tuner head to pop out a little bit more, so you just notch that. This is a standard traditional cigar box guitar headstock right here. So the first thing we do is notch it to the depth, and then put the table saw up and then cut it along the line here all the way up to the edge, and then just break it off, and then go back and hit it with a file and get rid of that little guy right there, just to make it all nice and smooth. So now we have our notch back here, and do the same thing up here. You know what I'd like to do first in this case here is hit this side here with a file, so I get a nice curvy right there, and then cut it the thickness of the blade, so that way when the fretboard's on here, I'm going to get a nice curvy, sexy, subtle transition right here. Enter the shin tube. So this is the first pass. It's a rough cut, right? But you can see here we're starting to determine where we're going to launch from here. And on this side here, the same thing, right? And that's what I mean here by the thickness of the top of the box. So now the top of the box is just like that, and then you have the height of the fretboard going over the top. Again, this is just the first pass. I'm still going to notch it for the pickup, and then give it another subtle notch so it doesn't come in contact with the top of the box, the inside of the box. And then of course the piezo goes back here, and then it'll be sticking out the bet, and I'll do my hinge on the back side there. So next, now I haven't glued this thing on yet, right? I'm still kind of waiting. Next, I'm going to go and actually route the neck. So we're gonna go, I have a 1/2 inch router bit, and I'm gonna take this little edge off right here, and then seriously, once you route it, then all of a sudden it changes from just a regular board to an actual neck. I mean, it's starting to look like a neck now, but as soon as you route it, then it's official. It is a neck. Here, I'll show you. Ooh, wow, did you catch that thunder? So we are outside, and it is quiet. You can hear the crickets. You hear the fan that's in the inside, but you can hear the crickets on the outside. Man, this air is nice and cool and crisp. Anyhow, here's the router. And that is a 1/2 round bit. So again, we're going to transform this piece of lumber into a cigar box guitar neck. Might get loud. See what I mean? All of a sudden it's like a cigar box guitar neck. Hello, look at that. So now we're gonna go back and file it and then glue it up. And now for the rough shaping of the neck, glue, clamps, we glue the fretboard on to the neck. Now what I like to do is I like to make, at this stage of the game, I make sure that my fretboard is nice and flat. So I don't want to tighten one side and not the other side and then have a warped fretboard. So I just make sure, again, a lot of it's just alignment. I'm just aligning it, making sure it's straight. And I determined that I don't need a whole bunch of clamps on this guy here because it's pretty straight already, but I did need to have more pressure here in the middle and of course here at the heel, and then that way the entire fretboard is perfectly straight, perfect plane. Just eliminates the need for sanding later and adjusting for the frets. I'm just hedging my bets at this stage of the game to make sure that the plane of my fretboard is as straight, perfect plane as possible. And of course it goes without saying you want to wipe off, eliminate all the squeeze out when you tighten that clamp down, that glue wants to come out. So I just get a little bit of water and a damp cloth. Just take your time, dude. There's no hurry here. Just eventually it's going to stop spooging out, and it'll probably just even after that you do a final wipe and you'll have to go back later and you'll say, missed a little bit, but just stay on top of it. And again, this is just an ounce of prevention. It's worth a pound of cure, right? All right, guys, get yourself on over to cbgiddy.com. Tell them we need to bring back the CB Giddy Mini Giddy. Be sure to use my affiliate link and my promo code for discounts and savings and quality parts, and you'll be helping support this channel. Guys, that's it for this video. We will see you in the next video. Cheers!